what's up guys, this is Famous Nutbrack. Sorry it's been a week or two since I've uploaded. Today we are reacting to everything that had to go wrong with Grizzly Man.
Pause and pause. I will fight, I will be strong. I'll be one of them.
Timothy Grizzly Man Treadwell spent 13 summers camping among the bears at Alaska's Katmai National Park. He treated them more like friendly companions than wild animals, and he integrated himself into the bear population at Katmai using unorthodox and dangerous methods.
What?
Which raises the question, how did he end up in the stomach of a creature he considered to be his best friend?
Yo, Alright, I feel like I have to be the one to say this. I'm gonna stop it right here. And I feel like I have to be the one to say this. You are hanging out with an animal that is 10 times your weight. That animal has sharp teeth and can potentially be hungry. You are edible food. You hanging out with deadly creature equals you're his lunch. That's all I'm gonna say. This is a wild animal, guys. Listen, I'm trying to save some of you because just in case any of y'all are thinking about hanging out with a wild animal, don't. They're called wild animals, not animals, wild animals. So don't get eaten.
I will be the master. Still a kind warrior.
Today, we're going to take a look at everything that had to go wrong for Grizzly Man Timothy Treadwell to meet his fate. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel and let us know in the comments below what other tragic stories you would like to hear about. Okay, let's tell the tale of a man who tried to befriend an apex predator. The brown bears of Alaska usually start prepping for winter in September. Knowing that's when the bears' appetites are on the rise, that's also when most of the bear watchers leave Katmai National Park. Indeed, on September 26th, Treadwell and his girlfriend, Amy Huguenard, packed up their camp in Kaflia Bay and headed to the airport. Once there, though, the couple had a change of heart. Treadwell was upset that he hadn't seen his favorite bear, a female he had named Downy. He also noted that the weather forecast was calling for rain. That meant more fish would be moving through the bay's waterways, attracting more bears. Treadwell was also put off by the cost of plane tickets back to his home state of California. After a verbal altercation with an airline employee, he decided to return to the park. The couple knew what they were up against. September was a dangerous month in the park due to all the hungry, feeding bears. In a letter dated September 2nd, Treadwell told friends, "I'm going to make it, unless one of the unfriendly bears gets me."
He even knew. He even knew.
Kaflia Bay along the Alaskan Gulf Coast was one of Treadwell's favorite spots for bear watching, and he spent time there every summer. In his 1997 book, Among Grizzlies, he labeled this part of Katmai National Park the Grizzly Maze, because in order to access it, campers had to navigate the web of intersecting grizzly trails in the thick brush surrounding the bay. Treadwell and Huguenard ventured back to the park on September 29th. In order to remain undetected by the Park Service, who'd recently imposed a new rule that primitive campsites had to be moved every 5 days, the couple traveled deep into the maze. Despite the fact that Treadwell had witnessed some alarming bear behavior while in the maze the previous August, he still set up camp in the most isolated part of it. Treadwell wrote on August 21st, "Much danger for me. I felt a great deal of paranoia, and rightfully so." He also mentioned that a nearby creek was loaded with bears and trouble.
He set up his camp
directly
directly in a major bear
into
trail.
The Grizzly Maze, Treadwell also made the risky decision to establish his camp along one of the major bear trails. He was intent on instigating as many bear encounters as possible, and the location would make that easy for him. According to biologist Larry Van Dale, Treadwell chose the spot he did to ensure that bears wishing to traverse the area would have had to either wade into the nearby lake.
That bear looks like he wants to eat him. Look, he's even like skinny. These bears are hungry, man. Why? Like, come on now.
Right next to the tent. In Van Dale's estimation, a person could not have designed a more dangerous location to set up a camp. and it wasn't a choice made out of ignorance. Videos found in Treadwell's tent indicate he understood exactly what he was doing. Yet he was convinced the bears wouldn't harm him because he thought they were his friends.
Man, just get some friends, man. Like, this is why you gotta be a friend to people in the world. Because when people have no friends, then they say animals are their friends. And animals don't want to be your friend either, dude. Like, if people don't want to be your friend, animals don't want to be your friend. Especially hungry bears.
Convinced he had nothing to fear, Treadwell ditched his bear spray and opted not to surround his camp with an electric fence. While there is no evidence pepper spray causes any long-term damage to bears, and other experts put electric fences around their camps, Treadwell felt these safety devices were unfair to the bears. He decided to go without. Treadwell's friends had routinely questioned his tactics throughout his career. They were worried he would wind up getting mauled, but he would just say, "If it happens, it happens." To Larry Van Dale, it was the choice to forego any defensive methods or bear deterrents in the camp that sealed Treadwell and Huguenard's fate.
Bears, come
in the
and
summer
get
of
me!
2003, Treadwell wrote a letter to a friend in which he observed that a few bears at his camp were more aggressive than usual. Some scientists now believe this behavior was caused by the lack of food that year. Salmon and berries were sparse due to a series of recent droughts. As the hibernation season approached, which lasts from November to April,
Do
the
bears
bears
really
were
eat
desperate to
berries?
fatten up. They were fighting each other for food and scavenging with less care and less hesitation than normal. Treadwell knew these bears and their habits well, but he didn't think twice about staying put. In his mind, his decision to remain in Alaska past the summer season was paying off. Thanks to steady rainfall, salmon populations soared that early October, and he was there to witness it. Just 2 days before his body was found, Treadwell wrote of the experience, "We made the best friggin' choice of our lives. Once the rain settled down, boy, it was amazing out here." With winter on the horizon, Treadwell and Huguenard were increasingly at risk of meeting a hungry bear.
Don't you do that. Don't you do that. Back
What
off.
is he doing?
Most of the bears were retreating further and further inland toward their mountainous dens to ride out the winter, but a few desperate stragglers and scavengers remained around Kaflia Bay. Bill Sims, a hunting guide and pilot who knew Treadwell well, often warned his friend about trying to enmesh himself in bear communities while they prepared for hibernation. "These bears just tolerate us," Sims would say. "They've
Yeah.
only got one thing in their mind, and that's to get as much food in their bellies during the summer because they've got a long winter ahead. They're not here to be our friends." But his warnings were ignored. Treadwell was so enamored with the bears, he refused to acknowledge the potential threat they posed to him or others.
I'm in love with my animal friends. I'm in love with my animal friends. I'm in love with my animal friends. I'm very, very troubled. They're so effed over. It so sucks.
Oh my god. After hearing him...
October is a cruel month for Alaskan bears for more reasons than just competition for food. During October, hunters are allowed to track bears outside Katmai National Park in the Kodiak Archipelago. The grizzlies in the park, amazingly, seem to be aware of what's happening to their species, courtesy of what's known as their bear sense. In fact, there appears to be a measurable correlation between bear aggression and hunting season in the area. Sam
Bear
Egley,
sense.
one of the men who was part of the team that retrieved Treadwell and Huguenard's remains, suspects Treadwell was too detached from the truth about how bears exist in the wild. Egley would later say, "I think Treadwell thought these bears were big, scary-looking, harmless creatures that he could go up and pet and sing to, and they would bond as children of the universe. I think he lost sight of what was really going on."
Yeah, he's watching too much Jungle Book.
If you're wondering how close Treadwell got with the bears, he actually named every single one he encountered during his 13 summers in Alaska. He also spent time each year inserting himself in their habitats and camping along their trails. By all accounts, he was pushing the boundaries of human-bear interaction. In his videos, Treadwell hoped to show the world that grizzlies were not as sinister as they appeared. He even
Well.
touched them, even going as far as kissing one on the nose. He and Huguenard spent previous summers together in Alaska, and she joined him in his quest to be a human among bears. "You haven't lived until you've bathed in a river with bears," she told a friend. In September, before they left and returned to their camp,
What?
Treadwell recorded an interaction with two large male grizzlies he had named Demon and Machine. He was excited because he felt like he had earned Demon's trust. According to Treadwell, I am being...
You're gonna be friends with a bear that you call Demon. I cannot with people sometimes.
let in very close to Demon and his food source. And in a further sign that he trusts me, he has actually turned his back to me. However, according to biologist Vic Barnes, this behavior was nothing short of pure stupid. He believed Treadwell wasn't really documenting bear behavior in any meaningful way. Rather, he was just obsessed with his own personal relationship with them. The concept of the 25th Grizzly refers to the kind of bear that tolerates no man or bear, one that will maul without bias. Treadwell was very familiar with this concept, having written about it in his book. The way Treadwell behaved toward the Grizzlies' Demon and Machine even implied he believed they met the qualifications to be considered 25ths. He told Huguenard to keep her distance, but video evidence shows neither bear was interested in them at the time. Despite this, Treadwell was fixated on becoming their friend. He believed that bears identified the smell of people with dangerous poachers. Mythologizing his role in rewriting the narrative of the grizzly bear, he wondered, how can I communicate to him that I am friend and all the rest are foe? With no defenses and a campsite that was intentionally placed on a heavily used bear trail, Treadwell and Huguenard's camp caught the attention of a visitor, the 1,000-pound male grizzly Treadwell referred to as the Machine. The interaction likely occurred the night of Sunday, October 5th, and instead of using caution, Treadwell left Huguenard in the tent and approached the bear he heard roaming around their camp. Treadwell recorded audio of the incident, as he did with most of his bear encounters. It begins with him outside the tent, where he meets his fate. For Treadwell, leaving his tent to investigate nearby bears was typical, but the incident escalated as the Machine's predatory instinct kicked in. Treadwell and Huguenard's remains were found the next day. I would love to be his friend, but he's not that type of bear, Treadwell said about the Machine, who was put down after the incident. Human remains were found in the bear's stomach. A few days later, a man with the Alaska troopers told reporters Treadwell knew that he was playing with fire, which was likely part of the appeal.
I will die for these animals. I will die for these animals. I will die for these animals.
So what do you think? Poor guy, or did Grizzly Man have it coming? Let us know in the comments below.
He
And
had
while
it
you're
coming. Of fucking course he had it coming. And not only that, you killed the bear too. Because they put down the bear that ate you. So good job, asshole. God, man, I hate people. That's what I got out of this. Anyways, guys, thanks for subscribing. Comment down below what you want to watch next. Peace. Yo. There's an audio tape out there of the bear killing him and his girl. Yeah, I don't want to hear that. Said grab a frying pan. Well, maybe you should have put up the electric fence. Maybe you should have fucking grabbed the bear spray. Yeah, I know, and they took down Harambe before he even hurt anyone. Yeah. Like, man. So stupid that will kill innocent animals for animals doing what animals do.